Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we're going to customize our little person modules here a little bit. We're going to change them from this. Something that looks like this. We've actually got animated images going on there. They're sort of rotating 180 and a little borders appearing when we hover over them. It's going to get people's attention if they're mousing around your site, which is what you want with a website, and just makes them a little more interesting. Now we've got to do a little bit of coding for this today, but don't let that put you off. Any code that I write I'll put down below the video and you're welcome to use it as you wish. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder so we can build on the front end. Okay, and let's add a new section. Make it a regular section. Inside I'm going to pop a row with 3 columns. And let's put a person module in there. If I roll down, there it is. Okay, let's roll this up so you can see. Here's our regular sort of person module. Put in a name here. And their position. You can put a Facebook profile and it'll add some icons for you down the bottom. I just put a hashtag in place of a link there. As you can see, that's Facebook, Twitter. Don't know why they've got Google Plus still, because it doesn't exist anymore, but we'll put in LinkedIn as well. Down below you've got a regular text field where you can add or delete text. There's a little bit too much text for me there. And obviously you can align things, paragraph things, make things into headings, bold, italicize, link, etc. I'm going to leave mine just like that. If we go on down, we can choose an image for our person. Now I'm going to be making my images round today. Let's use this chat right here. And if you want to have round images, you want to start off with a square image, unless of course you've got a round ping or something like that. But I'm using square images for this today. Just bear that in mind if you want them to be round. So there's our little fella right there. If you want to link the whole module to somewhere, put your link in there. Usual best practice, if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking off site to somebody else's site, open it in a new tab so that your site stays open. Down below we can put a background color in or anything you like here, gradient, image or video. I'm going to leave mine just as it is with a white background there. Okay, let's move on to our design now. Icon, well that's our social media icons right there. Let's make those blue. And let's make them a little bit bigger. Icon font size down below. That's great. Here's our image. I'm not actually going to do anything with this here at the moment because we're going to be using a bit of custom CSS code in a moment to take care of our image and do the twist and everything. So I'm going to leave everything off there, border styles and colors and things, and drop shadow because we'll do that all manually. Okay, let's move on down. Here's the text. I'm going to pop everything in the middle. That's fine right there. You can do the title text and position text separately, and as with Divi, as usual, you've got a huge amount of fonts to choose from. Just roll over one if you want to audition it and it will show you an example of that font. I will leave mine on the default. I will make this semi-bold though, and I think I'll capitalize it. That's his name by the way, Bob Jones over there. Let's make it blue. That's great. Body text I'll leave as it is. Position text, I'm going to make that blue and bold as well. Let's make that bold. And we'll make it blue also. Okay. Sizing, well we can make the module bigger or smaller within the column itself if you want to. But I'm going to leave mine just as it is. And as with most Divi modules, if you do something you don't like what you've done, simply select it, hit delete, it'll return to the default for you. And if you shrink your module down a little bit, you can align it within the column left, middle or right. Spacing wise, I'm just going to give it a bit of padding all around. Say 25 pixels. Just put in the 25, it'll put in the pix for you. And we'll do the same for left and right. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side. If you want to put a border all around it, you can do right here. I'm going to leave mine just as it is. I will put a little bit of box shadow in, just to set it out from the page just a little bit. And you've got several to choose from here. You've even got some inset ones if you want to do an inset border. But for me, that works fine. You can adjust vertical and horizontal and spread strength and colors right here if you want to. For me, I'm going to leave mine just like that. Okay, well, I'm not going to use any filters, transform or animation for this today. So let's get on and do the actual magic bit. What I want to do is make this image round, and then when we hover over it, I want to flip it 180 degrees, give it a blue border and a bit of box shadow as well. And I want to have a little bit of more space between the image and the actual title there. Now if I go over to advanced, we've got some custom CSS fields here, but I'm not actually going to use these today. I'm going to use it in the customizer. Here's our member image, and the reason being is that the transform duration will not work if we use this field here. So I'm going to use the actual Divi customizer, and I'll show you how to get there. So to target this, we want to give it a class. So let's give it the class, say people. Okay, or staff, or whatever you want to call yours. It wants to be unique though, and it wants to mean something to you. So let's save this, and we'll save our page changes here. Now if we exit the Visual Builder, I'm using Google Chrome, so it's got the great inspector tool, so I can right click on this module, hit inspect, it'll bring up the inspector, and if you've got elements selected on the left hand side, you'll have HTML, and if you've got styles on the right hand side, you'll have CSS over here. And if we look at this, look up here, there's people, the class that we gave it. Now we actually want to affect the image within that, so if I open this up, here's the actual image itself. If I click on that image, we can start putting some code in here. So first thing I want to do is give it a fixed height and a fixed width. So let's say height, and any CSS I'll write here I'll put down below, so don't panic if you can't follow along with it in real time. So I'm going to give it a height of say 150 pix. And remember I said that if you want a round image, the height and width has got to be the same, so we'll do the width similar, 150 pixels, semicolon. Great. Now what I'm going to do is make it round by saying border dash radius, and we'll give that 50%. There we go, that's made our image nice and round there. Put a semicolon at the end of that. The reason we put a semicolon, if you forget to put a semicolon on the end of there, it will not read the next line of code. Okay, well let's add a bit of box shadow to that just to bring it off the page. We'll say box shadow, box dash shadow. I don't want any left and right, so let's say 0 pix left and right. I want about 10 pixels up and down, so 10 pixels sort of down. You can see it popping in there. I'll give it a spread of about 15 pix to just spread it out a little bit. And then you can choose a color if you want to, if it's too dark for you. Let's say hashtag 444. That's pretty dark. Now I know that 444 is a sort of dark grey, and if I've only put 3 of them in there, it means that there's 6 of the same, because with CSS3, if a colour has got 6 of the same, 4, 5, A, B, whatever it is, you just need to put 3 in. So if I put the other 3 4s in there, I can add 2 figures on the end from 0 to 99, which will affect the transparency. So let's make it about half of what it is by putting 50 in there. There we go, that's quite a subtle little box shadow there. Let's put a semicolon in there. We'll drop down a little bit more. And let's add a border. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a transparent border in here so you won't actually see it. But then when we hover over it, I'm going to do a hover state in a minute. I'll have it turn into a color. So we'll say border, colon, and let's say 3 pixels, solid, like I say, transparent. Okay, great. And you can see the sort of white in there between it and the box shadow. And the last thing I want to do is I want to push his name a little further down because it's sort of getting in between the shadow underneath the image there. So let's say margin dash bottom. Let's give it, say, 30 pixels. That's great, fantastic. Okay, and because we've written it in our browser here, once we refresh the browser, it's not going to stay there. So we need to make this permanent. There's 2 places you can do this. If we go to the dashboard, you can go down to Divi, to Theme Options, and right down the bottom, if we're on the General tab, you'll find a Custom CSS panel down here. Or you can go down to Appearance and then Customize. That will bring us to this page. And right at the bottom, you'll find additional CSS. So let's delete what I've got in there at the moment and we'll start from scratch. Okay, let's go back to our page. I've still got this tab open here. And what I can do is copy all of this CSS that we've just written by left clicking and dragging as usual. Control C to copy. And remember, we've given this the class name of people. There it is, people. So if we go back to our customizer, class name always has to have a dot or a period in front of it. So it's dot, then the class name of people. But we want to affect the image within our module there. So it's people in img. Now we can open and close some curly brackets, drop down a bit, and inside we can paste the code we copied from our browser. There it is. Let's just tidy that up and hit the publish button. Now if we go back and refresh our page, that should become permanent. I can close down, that's our old customizer window. There it is, it's doing what we want. Okay, actually when we hover on this, I want it to flip round 180 degrees so he's facing the other way, and I also want that border to change color to blue. So we can do that with a hover state. So let's go back into our customizer. I'm going to copy the people image right there, class name. I'm going to drop down a couple. Just after the G of img there with no gap, I'm going to put a colon and the word hover. And I'm going to open some curly brackets, and in between we can decide what we want it to do when we hover over that image right there. So I want it to twist around its Y axis. So let's say transform and colon rotate Y, capital Y. Then we can open some round brackets and give it a degree value of how much we want it to rotate by. If you wanted it to twist all the way around, put 360. I'm going to go halfway, 180 DEG for degrees. Great. And after that last round bracket, we'll put a semicolon. And the border, I'm going to copy our border from up here and give it an actual color. Control C, drop down, Control V, and instead of transparent, let's put a color in. Let's find the blue color perhaps that our icons are. So if I select one of these icons and inspect it, should give us the color down here. There we go. Let's copy this color. Don't need the important, just need the hashtag and the hex code there. Control C to copy again. And we'll overwrite that where it says transparent. Make sure you don't lop off that last semicolon there. Not that it matters too much here because that's the last entry of this, but it's a good idea to get in the habit of keeping those on the end there. Okay, so it's going to rotate when we hover over it, and the border is going to change color. But the time, if we leave it like this, it's going to do it instantly. So let's add a bit of transition duration, and this is the reason I'm using this customizer and not the CSS custom CSS panel in the actual module itself, because transition duration does not work when I've tried it that way. So let's say transition dash duration, and let's say maybe 3/4 of a second, 0.75s, semicolon. Great, let's publish this, and we'll go back to our page. Let's get rid of this, refresh the page. Let's roll over Bob, and there we are, he's flipping around the other way and the border's changing colour there. So there you go guys, there's how to use a bit of custom CSS to style your little people module image right there. So of course once you've done one, you can put the builder back on, clone it and just change the title and the image and the description, or start again if you want to and give it that same class, and it'll do the same thing for the image. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.